Welcome back to Fist Entertainment for my next review. This mission in my Insidious Chapter 2 review, or as I say, Return to Insidious Chapter 2 review. I never thought that the James Wan magic to the Insidious franchise would return. Now, I'm happy to tell you that it did actually return. The magic that made the first two films so good has made an encore in 2023. But interesting enough, is a directorial debut for a first-time director on this film. And it's not James Wan, but what's interesting is it happens to be the star of the first two films. And of course I'm talking about 2023's Insidious, The Red Door. Insidious, The Red Door was one of the horror films I have not seen in 2023 up until this point. And all I can say is I wish I went to theaters to watch this, because this is actually a pretty damn good movie. Insidious, The Red Door is directed by Insidious star Patrick Wilson, who plays the character of Josh Lambert in the Insidious films, the first two, to be precise. And like I said in my last review, I never thought that Insidious Chapter 3 and Insidious the Last Key, or Last Key, let me see if this is Last Key or Last Key. The Last Key. Insidious The Last Key. I never thought the Insidious Chapter 3 and Insidious The Last Key really did quite measure up to the first two Insidious films. So I've been waiting a very long time to have a true sequel to those two great films instead of prequels like we had with the other two films. So let's go ahead and read the back of the synopsis, read the back of the case. In Insidious, The Red Door, the original cast from the horror franchise is back for the final chapter of the Lambert family's terrifying saga. With Patrick Wilson also making his directorial debut, Ty Simpkins, Rose Payne, and Andrew Asher to put their demons to rest once and for all. Josh and a college-aged Dalton must go deeper into the further than ever before, facing their family's dark past in a host of new and more horrifying terrors that lurk behind the Red Door. Okay. Well, to add to that, at the very end of the second film, Josh makes a decision to go ahead and have his memories and his son Dalton's memories erased from the events that they had to endure, so that they can't astral project and go into these dark realms and dark places. But somehow it gets undone. And it starts with Dalton. Dalton basically is an art enthusiast and going to art school, and he went into a meditative state to draw a portrait. And it undid the hypnotized effect. And almost instantaneously, he's being haunted by these dark images, and finds out that he can astral project. So it gets unlocked. Meanwhile, the 9 years are almost a decade that happened between the second film and this film. Josh's marriage went down the shitter because, first off, his wife couldn't stand to really, look at him. Obviously, she knew that wasn't him that was in his body. It was some serial killer. She just had a hard time, and he had a hard time. He kind of got fuzzy in his head. He just couldn't quite keep it straight in here after being deprogrammed from, you know, his memories and stuff like that. And it all kind of comes together. A son who hates his father because he wasn't there in his most important years. A father who doesn't know why his family and him departed. Now it kind of comes together. And then Dalton finally figures out the truth that, you know, both him and his father are astral projectors, and his father, again, has to go in and save his son after his son just took him over in much of the same way that he was taken over, but this time by the very, very much not a evil spirit, but a demon. And so, instead of this evil spirit of a serial killer, like it happened with Josh in the second film, Dalton gets taken over by that very scary demon that was trying to take over his body in the first film. And so Josh has to go again into the further to save his son and release him from, you know, being controlled, you know, his body being controlled by this demon. So, yeah. But despite the fact that it's kind of similar to kind of the first, it kind of plays homage to the first two films, I would say that this acts as a really good closing chapter of a trilogy in a lot of ways. And that's what it feels like. And that's what makes this movie so good, is the fact that it ties very well into the first two films. It's more about the Lambert family than anything else. It's not about Elise and her two sidekicks like the third and fourth films are. Now with that said, Insidious Chapter 3 and Insidious The Last Key are very good films, and they do actually tie into the first film quite well. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that it all started, and this kind of goes with the whole story of all five films. The relationship between Elise and the serial killer that eventually obviously possesses Josh Lambert's body is that she had her first encounter with this serial killer spirit when she saved Josh Lambert's astral projection problems, saved him from being taken over by this thing when he was a child, and has haunted her ever since. And so in a lot of ways, all these films connect, all five of them, but it's not quite the same as when you have one continuous story that makes complete sense, to where you don't have to pull back layers, but everything is kind of drawn out for you, literally as one story in a trilogy. And that is what I call Insidious Chapter 2 and Insidious The Red Door. I call it a perfect trilogy that really is one story that's told over the course of 3 films, and it makes sense. You don't have to peel back layers to see how it connects to them, like it did with the third and fourth Insidious films, which are far more commercial than these. These 3 are more serious, grounded ones, while 3 and 4 are more commercial, in my personal opinion. Now the picture and audio. Well, you know I don't like to rant on Sony, but I got to rant on Sony again. Much like The Imitation, you can watch the Imitation on Netflix in 4K. Now, I did mention that when I reviewed The Imitation, which makes no fucking sense that you can do that. And I can cuss in this video because this film is not meant for children. Despite its PG-13 rating. Just because it has PG-13 rating on the freaking movie does not mean the children should watch it. So, sorry, that's when it went out there again. You can buy this movie on Amazon Prime with really, really shitty audio in 4K. And if this was available on a premium, streaming service, you could also probably watch this in 4K. And also, depending on what streaming service gets this one, whichever one actually gets their hands on Sony Pictures stuff. If it's Paramount or it's Netflix, there's a fair chance you'll actually get the original sound presentation too. The original sound presentation for this film is Dolby Atmos. Well, people, this is not in 4K and it's not in Dolby Atmos. This is in 2K Full HD with a DTS HDMA 5.1 sound presentation. Now, don't let that fool you. The quality on this film, again, is very, very, very good quality. I mean, this is reference quality for a Blu-ray. You really can't get much better. That's what's cool about these Insidious films. You really can't get much better, especially with the three I've reviewed tonight. I do remember Insidious Chapter 3 not having a good sound design. And I do remember Insidious The Last Key having more of like a teleplay look to the cinematography of the film. These three don't have that problem. But these are all reference quality. But what irritates me about Sony is that they're eventually going to give you a 4K release of this movie. They're eventually going to give you a 4K release of The Invitation. And it's going to be the way it should have been in the first place. When you take something that's actually designed to be shown in 2160p HDR10 or Dolby Vision and presented in Dolby Atmos, and then you do this, you're taking the quality away and giving you an inferior product. And that's all I have to say about why it's irritating and annoying. Well, we're out of time, so I haven't seen Insidious The Red Door. I would say go ahead and check it out because it's a great film. And I'll see you next time.